This is not the kind of thing that I could bring friends over and be like, let's watch Panty and Stocking. I want this to be one of my favorite animes. They got a Transformers parody episode in here, right?
The robot bangs another robot.
Okay, I didn't remember. It's bad. It's really bad. It's worse than you think. God, can I not do this? Can I not do this react? Can I like literally not do this react? Wow. Cursed content. It was fine until I started talking about it. So like some people have heard this before, you know, right? There's a lot of anime that have been objected to that, you know, maybe it's just like, oh, come on, don't be such a, you know, don't get your panties in a bunch. I swear to God, I don't have my panties in a bunch. I have taken them off and they are now a gun and I'm hunting ghosts with that gun. Okay. That's what we're dealing with. Absolutely wild. It really does feel spooky and weird. This is just not right, though. This is not how... Yo, what if I have a ghost in my internet and I have... No, come on. No, come on. Stay with me. Please, no. Oh, my God. Okay, that looks stable. We should be good now. It was choppy, but it pulled through. Nice. Trigger will not be... They don't like that I'm ripping on them. They don't like that I'm yikesing. If I was like, this is a great show and everybody should watch it and there's no problems with it, and if you think there's a problem with it, it's just because you're a damn SJW, then like I would be able to react to this, right? If I was like, Saberspark is great, Trigger Studios is great, Gainax is great, none of these people have done anything wrong ever in their lives, then I would have no problem whatsoever. No, I honestly think it is my internet, and I do think there's like a ghost in my internet, a la Panty and Stocking, and that like, what do you have to do? You have to bust the ghost. So I'm literally gonna have to disrobe here. I'm gonna have to get my panties out of a bunch, unironically, and I'm gonna have to go ghost hunting in order to get this to work right. Can we just
Stalking
react?
could not succeed in today's current media landscape. Hell, you got people on TikTok already protesting the reboot, calling it problematic. Huh, I wonder why.
I am single and looking for some mingling.
Fatty.
Suck my giant get buried.
I would totally have his abortion.
It is so ridiculous, so overwhelming, so absolutely insane.
Okay, so here we go. This is what I'm talking about, right? So this is the most realistic depiction of the characters. We don't have an age problem, right? The reason that it you know, seems like there might be one is that the simplified art style, you know, makes it unclear, right? But when their characters are drawn realistically,
Pride that is Panty and Stocking.
Are you on a diet? You can tell me.
okay, so yeah, that was another episode that I had a problem with, right? You know, it seems like a joke, and it, you know, it's played off as a joke. It's stuff that could legitimately trigger, you know, eating disorder kind of stuff, right?
Of course not. Why would you say that? I'm naturally petite and thin. I'm the reason tweens make themselves hurl. Uh-oh. Peekaboo. I saw it. There it is. There it is again. Hello. It's still there. Fatty. Badass. One more hit. Fatty.
How this show came to be, why it's so controversial, and if it would be rejected nowadays by the modern online world. One that is much more sensitive and outspoken against cynical and edgy humor. Strap in, folks. We're in for a wild ride.
I mean, look, cynical and edgy, I will take, okay? Racist tropes are a whole different matter.
What it, pass it back.
Hey, what are you girls doing? So, what are the origins of Panty and Stocking? Who unleashed this chaotic anime onto the world? Well, that
Yeah, that's what happens when you mistake protection for bubblegum.
would be Studio Gainax, a legendary anime studio with a massive rosters of hits like Neon Genesis Evangelion, FLCL, and Gurren Langan. It was actually right after Gurren Langan where the team went on a trip to unwind. While completely drunk off their asses, they came up with nearly all the ideas for Panty and Stocking, wanting to really cut loose and try something completely different from their previous work, both in tone and aesthetic. Panty and Stocking was unlike anything the studio had ever done before. Or hey, the anime industry for that matter. While it had messed around with absurdist stories before, like an FLCL, Panty and Stocking would take this energy even further, and the results would be as fascinating as they were divisive. The show follows the misadventures of the Anarchy Sisters, Panty and Stocking, two angels who were kicked out of heaven due to their bad behavior, charged with earning their way back into heaven by doing good deeds and earning something called heaven coins. They battle supernatural forces and they
T-Mac, I'm not bitching about the cartoon, okay? understand. I want to like this cartoon. I think there's a lot of good elements of it, right? But when I see like some shit that belongs in like the 1950s, right? Or not even the 1950s, like, right? You're talking about like, imagine the worst racist cartoon you've ever seen. That kind of image appears in this series in one episode, and it sucks. But yeah, like, you know, there's a different level of sensitivity to that sort of thing in Japan, and those kind of depictions are really fucking common from what I understand. Like, right, I want this cartoon to be something. This is the kind of thing that if I was to sit like, you know, somebody down and be like, we're gonna watch this whole series, all 13 episodes, right? I'm gonna show you PSG, right? They might like leave my house in the middle of me showing it to them, and they would be right? In other words, I can't, like, you know, there's stuff in here that I cannot explain away, despite the fact that I really I like these studios. I like the art style. I even like the crass humor, because a lot of it is just potty humor, which is great. I'm incredibly immature. I love potty humor. I love, you know, sexual humor, right? There's a lot that I like about this, but when you have one of the main characters committing CSA, and again, like seriously, I dare you, bring a bunch of friends over and watch this. Okay, don't do it, because you're gonna lose your friends, right? But that's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. There's a lot to like about this. You know, the series. There's you know, some amazing art in it. If you like Kill la Kill, if you like Invader Zim, if you like old school, like, you know, 90s kind of Cartoon Network art, it combines all these things, right? So I'm not just sitting here hating on it. What I'm expressing is that, God damn it, why did this have to get eaten by Yikes, right? That's how I feel. I feel like the Yikes monster came and ate something that should have been one of my favorite animes, right? That's how I feel, all right? This anime is perfect for me, and then I get to, what is it, like episode 3 or 4? And I can't explain that shit. I can't defend that shit, right? I won't. I refuse. I Rohan Kashibe that. I refuse. No one is forcing you to listen to the, and like, yeah, like
city of
this is a little bit different than criticism of it or hate on it or anything like that, right?
City, a play on the Japanese phrase meaning fallen.
Like, in other words, there's stuff in here that is so bad I literally can't show you, and I think that's why Saberspark didn't cover it, right? Because it's bad. It's really bad. It's worse than you think.
Angels. What follows is a 12-episode fever dream of insane, stylized animation, over-the-top action, and of course, crass humor that revels in sexual innuendo and potty humor. On top of that,
see,
the show parodies pop culture. And
I am there for those two things. That's great. Sexual innuendo, potty humor, good stuff, right?
Mirrors almost every media trope you can point a finger at, in glorious, irreverent self-awareness that can leave a person slack-jawed. The series was created as a departure from the more serious and dramatic works that Gainax was known for, and was intended to be a humorous and irreverent take on the action genre.
It's also really experimental, right?
Despite its polarizing reception, Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt has had a lasting impact on the anime industry, and remains a unique and memorable entry in Gainax's extensive catalog of work. The series was directed by Hiroyuki Imashi, who brought his signature style to the show, blending traditional anime techniques with elements of Western animation. The series pulls from a lot of different influences, from anime, of course, to Western animation, to other Japanese properties like tokusatsu, with the Monster of the Week format with each ghost villain, and specifically the endings with the physical props of the monsters explode.
See, look at that. Look at that. There's a lot that I like about this, right? I think this is this from like Super Sentai type stuff, like this, you know, exploding villains. What is Saberspark being canceled for? Not the canceling is not serious, okay? So Saberspark did a video about a series that is came out in 2010, right? didn't really make any waves, didn't really get watched. Nobody noticed it when it came out in 2010, right? Since then, it has developed a cult following.
At a flat angle when defeated. It is very much so in the vein of classic Showa-era toku shows, like Ultraman, Super Sentai, and Kamen Rider.
Showa-era toku shows, okay.
Now, one of the most notable differences in the animation style of Panty and Stocking was its use of exaggerated expressions and physical comedy, reminiscent of
An
cartoons
NCC Nonochka.
like the Powerpuff Girls. The show also made use of fast-paced action sequences and creative camera angles, giving it a frenetic energy in its insanely over-the-top set-piece scene.
Oh, Samurai Jack. That is another. Do you see some Samurai Jack DNA in here?
Something that was a bit of a studio signature for Gainax by this point. Combined with the bold blends of East and Western stylization, made this show a visual spectacle.
Wait, the Showa area was from 1926 to 1989?
Unlike anything seen in traditional anime or American animation for that matter, blending the strongest aspects of both into something fresh and unique. Now, this part caught me off guard. Hiromi Wakabayashi, who provided the initial idea for the series, said that Drawn Together was an inspiration for the show's crudeness. Quote, a few years
Okay, so who knows Drawn Together? Now, I never watched this show. I'm familiar with kind of the look of the character design, but very little else. I can't say that I've ever sat down and watched a Drawn Together episode. Any opinions on Drawn Together?
ago, I, along with other
American
Gainax staffers, at an American convention, were watching the American TV animation Drawn Together.
Yeah, correct, Raven. Yeah, same people that made Panty and Stocking made Gurren Langan. And again, I have complicated feelings about this, right? I want this to be one of my favorite animes. There are some things that kind of get in the way of that, right? And, you know, that are, like, there's elements that I really like about it, and then there's one episode in particular that has both a bunch of fat phobia and like a really gross, like, racist caricature, right? And like I said, this is not the kind of thing that I could bring friends over and be like, let's watch Panty and Stocking, right? Because like I got no explanation that, you know, there's just racist shit in this show for no reason.
Together, and we couldn't believe that they were showing such explicit things on TV. I thought, why don't we do that? End quote. Hiromi also cited Powerpuff Girls and his love for American shows like Glee and Gossip Girl, which, you know, kind of makes sense. The aesthetic of Panty and Stocking is a far cry from where
I loved it as a teen, but it's Wait, are you saying the Drawn Together is racist too?
anime generally plays, especially the trends of its fellow shows in 2010. The much more stylized proportions, the large heads, geometric streamlined anatomy, and thick graphic outlines in the characters are lifted straight from early 2000s Cartoon Network shows.
So it's not just graphic outlines, right? It's not just like 90s. So the difference between this, I think, and 90s anime is they had thick outlines, thick lines on the 90s anime, but this has got, you get perspective by the thickness of the lines, right? So when they want to make something kind of have dimensionality to it, you'll see thick lines, you know, in the parts of the drawing that are closer to you, and not so thick lines in the parts of the drawing that are further away.
Like Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Lab. And
See, like, compare it to Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls, that's just thick lines, right? This is more than that, right? You can see it right there, right? You can see the kind of depth that gets added by the modulation of the line. Oh my god, I sound like such an art nerd, and I'm not even good at art.
And Stocking themselves are also very much so parodies of American women stereotypes in the media, which is likely where the Gossip Girl influence comes from. Also,
Drawn Together is like edgy for edge's sake.
He is apparently a huge fan of American comics.
It was racist and homophobic and misogynist, damn.
And other American cartoons like...
Okay, so that seems like the nasty DNA that got into Panty, Stocking, and Garterbelt. But yeah, they're highly influenced, like, right? So they talked about the animators, you know, that after one of their projects, they went and had a vacation, and they all got massively wasted, and you know, I guess watched Drawn Together and really wanted to make something similar.
Transformers. As a matter of fact, he was the one who wrote the script for the Transformers parody episode. You know, where Panty...
Okay, see, they got a Transformers parody episode in here, right?
The robot bangs another robot.
Okay, I didn't remember there was robot
in a porta potty. The show debuted in October,
oh my god, of course,
October of 2010, with mixed reviews from Japanese critics. Some of them found the humor of the show to be tasteless, and that it had essentially no plot, and was all style instead of substance. Others reveled in the series' debauchery, praising its high-energy animation and blend of action, comedy, and crass humor.
And here's what's funny, like, they talk about debauchery, they talk about, like, hypersexuality, right? It is not like a it's not like a horny show, right? It's not erotic. The sexual content is like 99% humor.
which was seen as something fresh and entertaining. The soundtrack, produced by Taku
banging,
Takahashi,
yeah.
was also well received and added to the overall
Yeah, the soundtrack is really good. Check out the soundtrack if you get a chance.
enjoyment of the series. It blended elements of hip-hop, electronic, and rock music to create a unique and memorable musical score. In 2011, Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt was part of the jury selection.
Robot banging must be loud. Indeed, indeed. Were they at a Woodstock 99 porta potty? Possibly. What's up, young luck economist?
Of the
Weasel.
15th Japan Media Arts Festival in the animation category. So yeah, it was getting some accolades. But in contrast, you have the
So here's what's so frustrating about it. Like, yeah, it's groundbreaking. It combines a lot of elements that have never been combined before. It's done by a really awesome studio. There's parts where the plot drags. There's parts that are overly experimental. But all in all, it can be a lot of fun. Certain episodes are a lot of fun. And then there's the episode that I was mentioning before, which, far from being a lot of fun, is like a trigger for eating disorders. And I gotta say it, extremely racist, right?
the US, where the reception of the show was mixed to say the least. There were some viewers who appreciated its irreverent humor and distinctive animation style, while there were others who were put off by its crass and absurdist approach. Some Western audiences found the humor to be too juvenile or offensive, while others praised the
It is very
show
juvenile.
for its bold and unapologetic approach. Sites like Polygon praised the show, awarding it as one of the best anime of the 2010s, while other publications, such as Anime News Network, found the show to be unremittingly revolting and generally not funny, and accused the series of having a style over substance approach and generally flawed, tasteless, and needlessly disturbing comedy. Jeez, rough crowd. Despite this mixed reception, Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt resonated well with audiences though, and the series has gained a dedicated cult following in the US and has been recognized for its place as a unique and memorable entry in the world of anime. The transformation scene and the music with it, Fly Away, has since achieved meme status and was used in a bunch of parodies online. Fly Away! I can't sing it. The cult following for Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt in the US grew over time through a combination of word of mouth.
It's sort of copying the super flat, super blocky UPA animation style, which Cartoon Network shows in the 90s and 2000 copied to. Oh wait, so this is Cartoon Network. I called it the Cartoon Network style, but Toro-kun in YouTube chat is telling me that it's actually copied from UPA.
Recommendations and the increasing accessibility of anime through streaming platforms. As more people were exposed to the series and its distinctive blend of humor and animation, a small but dedicated group of fans began to emerge. These fans appreciated the show's off-the-wall humor and irreverent take on the action genre, and sought out others who shared their enthusiasm. The growth of the series following was also fueled by its popularity among the otaku community, who appreciated its nod to Japanese pop culture and references to other anime and manga. Online forums, fan communities, and social media allowed fans to connect and share their love for the series, helping to grow its following even further. Oh, by the way, some of y'all might notice this dog named Chuck, who bears a striking resemblance to
Anybody gonna call it? Oh god, it's already on screen. You know what this is, right? This is an homage to Invader Zim.
another green animated dog. Yeah, that one. Jonan Vasquez himself even commented on the similarities
That's what Jonan looks like? That's what Jonan looks like.
between
Grr.
and Chuck on his Tumblr, playing off the similarities as a joke. He implied he felt the more crude
Okay, let me read this. Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt to Gurr out of the... Oh my god, I can't say that. Out of the brothel he was working in and gave him a new job. Jeez, Yonan's so weird. It's nice seeing him get some work done, but I gotta say it's a bit on the simple side for my taste. What with the fart and shit, but the ending is pretty ridiculous, and Gainax produces some of the only Japanese animation I can stand without wishing I was the drinking type, so I'm looking forward to more. And yeah, what's up, Sarah Wants a Cookie? What's up, Scientist, City of Doors? Yeah, Jonan Vasquez. I wonder if he's gonna refer to the Rule 34 surround... Wait, okay, I mean, God... I haven't seen any Rule 34 surrounding Panty and Stocking Garterbelt. This is one of the things that the series gets criticized for, though. When you're looking at the normal art style of PSG, it's a little hard to determine age of the characters, right? And I feel like they kind of have it both ways too. They put them in high school settings, but obviously, it's Gainax, so you get some diversity in the style of art. And when you get them portrayed in a realistic style, they're clearly of age. But then again, they're still getting they're getting mileage off of the idea that the priest is into their friend Brief, right? So the main characters, you got Panty and Stocking, the Anarchy sisters. You got the priest, who's kind of like their boss. He is supervising them, earning their heaven coins in order to get back into heaven by busting the ghosts, right? And then you've got Brief, who is like their dorky friend, right? And they're in high school settings, but the idea is to bust ghosts. They're angels, so they wouldn't be, registered for high school. But they're sort of fitting into that environment, which makes you think like, okay, how old are, these characters, looking? Then when you see the transformations age, you say, they're of age. But then the jokes that they make with Brief are like that the priest is trying to, get with Brief, and so that's obviously playing off of it's making a joke off of a really serious scandal and gross thing that happened in the Catholic Church. Reflection of that's the joke, right? So it's kind of hard to see, like it's hard to enjoy this series because there's so many elements that are not just like edgy, they're not just like risque, they're like just straight up like what the fuck, right? And that's the series.
Trail of Chuck did not really mesh with the personality he had given to Gurr, but still praised Gainax overall as one of the few anime studios he could personally stomach.
Yeah, it is like 21 Jump Street, yeah.
Geez, wow. I guess he doesn't care for anime. From angels and demons stripping their clothes off, to the same demons and angels shooting each other right afterwards. Among all the craziness, there was a plot that was slowly advancing throughout the show, which is Panty and Stocking trying to get those heaven coins and go back to heaven. Did they ever achieve their goal at the end? Well, let's just say that this show has one of the most bizarre endings ever conceived in an anime. What happened, you ask? Well, it ended on a massive cliffhanger.
I got spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. It revealed Stocking.
I don't know. Maybe we could skip the spoilers. Well, I don't know. I'm not trying to, if I say skip the spoilers, it's like I'm trying to tell you, I'm not recommending the show, just for the record, okay? This show is going to be rebooted. And maybe they're gonna not be as yikes this time, maybe. But understand, there's stuff in this show I cannot, with good conscience, recommend. However, I don't think getting the spoilers really. I don't think that adds anything to it, so we will skip right past that.
Massive loop, then closing out before you had any time to even process the twist. It was almost as abrupt as the ending of Drawn.
It's not really an ending you can spoil. Was originally made as a troll ending. It's too hard to even understand. It just doesn't it doesn't make sense. More crazy than, you know what? I haven't seen the end of it. I haven't seen either the end of the original Evangelion cartoon or the end of Evangelion the movie, right? I haven't seen either of those yet, right? I've seen all the way up to that, and I've never finished it for some weird reason.
Together.
Drawn together have been canceled.
A sequel series seemed unlikely, as Hiroyuki, the director of Panty and Stocking, left Gainax and went on to co-found Studio Trigger in 2011. Bringing the same kind of energy that defined Gainax projects, Trigger is essentially viewed by the public as the successor of Gainax, and have gone on to produce a number of critically acclaimed and popular anime series: Kill la Kill, Little Witch Academia, Promare, and most recently, the hugely successful Cyberpunk Edgerunners on Netflix. However, with Panty
I always forget that was them.
and Stocking still being owned by what remains of Gainax, which had at this point remained largely
A Gainax show has a Gainax ending? Who would have thought? Yeah, and so does now that I think of it, I guess Edgerunners. Oh yeah, I shouldn't spoil that. Some of you haven't seen Edgerunners yet. That one's good.
inactive ever since the founding of Trigger, it seemed that a follow-up to Panty and Stocking wouldn't happen. And even if it did, the director behind the series wouldn't even be involved. Now, there was a small blip of hope for a sequel in 2016 when a Twitter post from Gainax West vaguely hinted at a Panty and Stocking announcement. Speculation immediately abounded, pondering if this was the first hint at a second season. Hope intensified further when additional posts confirmed that the announcement wouldn't be a pachinko machine or a social network game or an additional Blu-ray release of the first season, and instead said,
Or a patch of slot.
quote, "We're offering something new for fans of the series." So, what was it? The teaser ended up being a Panty and Stocking themed cafe. Bastards. I want to go, but bastards nonetheless, right? Why do they toy with our hearts? Since Gainax has essentially
Has anybody ever been to a themed cafe? Like, I've seen YouTube videos on, like, there's a Persona 5 themed cafe, but, like, I can't imagine actually wanting, like, I don't know. I can't, like, I love Persona 5. I love Atlas. Speaking of yikes, speaking of that I can't explain or I can't excuse, yeah, Atlas. Another guilty pleasure, but, like, I can't imagine going to, like, a you know, I mean, all it is, like, you know, the food is themed, and it's not even a cool way, like, right? If it was, like, you could get the items that you get in Persona to, like, level up and to heal yourself, that would be cool. But it's not even that. It's just, you know, I don't know. It's weird.
dissolved, and most of the studio went on to form Studio Trigger, the likelihood of a follow-up to Panty and Stocking is almost certainly never going to happen. That ending cliffhanger seemed
No, I've never seen Gurren Langan. I've never seen that. I want to get the HR Geiger bar in Tokyo. Okay, that sounds like it could be cool. I mean, I would go to, like, a cat cafe. I just can't imagine going to, like, a cafe, like a Persona 5. And then there's one, I think, in LA. Wait, is that right? Is it in LA? I can't, no, it is in San Fran. It's in San Francisco, I think. I love the way that Gurren Langan escalates. Cielo Mist, Dr. Salt. Seems like it'd be totally crazy bar. Yeah, it should be a bar. That would be fun.
very much so
No, it was a coffee shop.
intentional.
Hold it!
Oh my God. No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So in 2020, Studio Trigger was able to secure the rights to both Panty and Stocking as well as Gurren Lagann from what remained of Gainax, bringing
Wow, so they might reboot Gurren Lagann as well.
the rights back into the hands of the original creative team that helmed the projects. During a panel at Anime Expo 2022, Trigger revealed that they were working on the elusive, seemingly never going to happen second season of Panty and
So there we have it. It is scheduled to happen this year. The reboot, right?
Stocking. After a
It's
10-year
in San Francisco. It's just regular food and drink with a touristy stuff, but overpriced.
hiatus. As of right now, a specific release date is still unknown, but it's rumored that it's going to be 2023. Also, there's obviously a lot of questions about the nature of the series, especially so long after the initial series ended. Trigger clearly has the animation chops to make something like Panty and Stocking again. Recent projects like Brand New Animal and Edgerunners prove that. Not that there was ever any doubt at all to begin with. And considering the creative director of the series is the current co-owner of Trigger, the heart of the series will most likely survive the 10-year hibernation. Though here comes the real question, and the one that actually concerns me, is if a show like Panty and Stocking can survive in 2023. Panty and Stocking, like I already
And see, okay, we're gonna fast forward right past that scene. I'm sure that is those are just a dessert type. Oh my God, no. Okay, no, God, you see that? So there's a priest. There's the priest, and yeah, that's oh my God, this is so bad. This is so bad, right? We have a lot of cat cafes here. They just try to spin the fact that there are so many strays around.
off screen, multiple times over, which
yeah. No,
is used as the butt of joke
oh
after.
my God, that is so
that's the tip of this ice.
Yo, I'm not even kidding about this, right? They constantly go back to this idea of the priest being into brief, right? And here's the weird thing, right? Like I said, there's a lot that points to these characters being of age. They're right, in the realistic portrayal of the characters, they are clearly of age, but then they want to have it both ways, right? The joke with Brief and the priest implies that Brief is, anyway, it's fucking yikes. It's so yikes, right?
Iceberg in terms of
I did go to a taqueria that is based on Dragon Ball Z. Oh God, yeah. Dragon Ball Z is so popular, and
of lines the show would cross that were even considered a bit too much even back in 2010. But in 2023? Oh, this year is an entirely different beast. There are people online nowadays who are much more sensitive to this kind of content and have no issue putting so-called problem.
Look, listen, I'm the SJW that you're talking about, Saberspark. And yes, I was joking about canceling you. I'm not really canceling you, okay? So you can breathe a sigh of relief, right? But I am the SJW that you're worried about. And like, I'm not gatekeeping the potty humor. I am not gatekeeping the sex themed humor, okay? It's like, for me, it's like the racism.
Problematic content
like that is the no-go.
And on blast and pushing it for cancellation and disparaging anyone who is not as equally outraged as them. Following the announcement of
There we go.
Season 2 of Panty and Stocking, TikTok exploded with content ripping on the show in general, calling out its offensive issues, and even calling its simplified style, combined with the sexual acts of the characters as, bait for P words. I can't say it, YouTube would kill me. That the characters look too much like children and were stand-in for kids, which, like, the thought of that is just absurd. It is ridiculous.
I mean, it's not. They try. They use in the humor. You can see that they're kind of trying to have it both ways. That, like, I mean, like, I can see why, you know, that's, yeah, they're
ridiculous. That is absolutely not what the show.
Also, the fact that Garter sounds like the character. Oh yeah, exactly. Character from the blaxploitation era. He does have that vibe. Yeah, looks like Black Dynamite
was trying to do. But this is the climate that a new season of this show is stepping into, and it's worth acknowledging as a potential issue for the show. Like, I can only imagine that any of us that are terminally online are going to be hearing a lot about this show one way or another.
From those goddamn SJWs on TikTok, yeah.
The new season finally drops. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Place my donut, eat my donut, I've got a donut for you!
In conclusion, Panty and Stocking is one of the most unique animated shows ever made, and is a great example of combining Western animation influence into anime, which isn't very common. Usually it's the other way around, but Panty and Stocking was different. From its distinct character designs, to its smooth and dynamic animation, to its irreverent writing, Panty and Stocking has firmly cemented itself as a standout in the world of anime. Yes, I admit, it is not perfect, and quite a few of the jokes are dated or just never hit to begin with. But most of the flaws of the show that are just like, hey, I don't dig pop.
Like, I can forgive the inconsistency of the humor because they were being experimental. Like, I appreciate that, right? If an episode is no good, then you don't watch it again. All right, it's no big deal, right? If a show is funny, if a show is good, you can forgive some off jokes or some humor that just kind of takes it too far. And there are some episodes, like, I feel like the nose picking episode. Yes, there is a nose picking episode. There's a nose picking episode, okay, and it takes it further than it's funny, right? It's more, yeah, definitely like don't be eating anything when you watch the nose picking episode. If you watch the nose picking episode, but
body humor, but I'll let it pass.
But I can forgive that. I've got no problem with it, right? For me, it's the first of all, the racist depiction in especially in one episode, right? And yeah, people mentioned the sort of black exploitation vibe that Garterbelt has, and then the eating disorder fuel in that same episode. There's like one episode of this that I could totally do without. Yeah, thank you for squishing that like button. It helps a lot. We've had to reset this stream time and time again, right? So every time we do it, you've got a new chance to press like, and take that chance, right?
Or, that's kind of hypersexualized and irreverent, whatever, I'll let it slide, or it's kind of funny here and there. Those kinds of flaws to me make it stand out that much more because they were trying to do something different.
Yeah, that stuff I don't really mind.
With season 2 slated for a 2023 release, I guess we'll have to wait and see if something as shocking and sardonic as Panty and Stocking could still succeed in this current media.
Shocking, sardonic, not a problem. Racist,
landscape.
That's a
Things
problem.
have changed so much since 2012. Though it can also be argued that people getting upset over Panty and Stocking is nothing new, since they've been upset before even back in the day when it first was released. But nowadays, it could get ugly. Though also, this could completely To
be fair, at least in the US and probably in Japan too, this just wasn't that popular.
Backfire on the detractors.
This is one of those shows that has built up a cult following like after being released. It wasn't popular enough to have that much of a backlash.
Because, hey, controversy sells, it might make the show that much more popular. I mean, hey, look at that Harry Potter game that came out.
Saberspark. Oh my god. Like, I love that people really think that, like, yo, this got popular because of the boycott. A streamer boycott. Okay, so yeah, Nicotine boycotted this, suggested other people boycott it. Nicotine and Kira Chats, some other streamers took a week off of Twitch because they were advertising. I don't think that made this more popular. This is Hogwarts. This is Harry Potter. This was going to be popular no matter what. AAA release of a Harry Potter game. It's going to be popular. He talks about the SJWs. What does he really mean is a couple of people on Twitter. The mob of SJWs he believes exists is algorithms and companies that want to make as much money as popular.
Heard of it, but I saw reports saying like it's one of the best-selling games or most streamed games on Twitch. So yeah, controversy.
Really, you weren't gonna? No, you were gonna play this. Like you either like, you know. Okay, look. As far as Harry Potter goes, you're either over it, disgusted by J.K. Rowling, or nostalgic, right? And if you're nostalgic, there's a lot of nostalgic people out there. You're probably going to play this game. You're going to see this game, and you're going to play this game. And I don't think it matters whether trans people are upset or not. I don't really think that that's... I feel like people are overhyping and overblowing the effect of the quote-unquote backlash, you know, making this more popular.
I guess. Also, it's worth noting that this is an anime.
I'm really happy I was never an HP fan.
Anime itself tends to operate by a different set of rules compared to Western animation and its sensibilities. But for me, my biggest fear of all is seeing the creators of Panty and Stocking compromise their vision and buckle under the pressure in order to play it safe. To see it neutered of its cynical origins in order to avoid any kind of problematic backlash. Nah, screw that. I don't like that at all. Stick to your guns. There's some...
Stick to your... Yeah, see, like, look, and this is the thing. I think that maybe Saberspark missed the episode that I'm talking about, right? Because it's more than just sardonic and irreverent and whatever, you know, he's talking about here.
Things you can be nuanced on, some bad jokes you can leave behind. But if you like completely strip the show of any of its cynicism, of its sense of humor, if that happens...
Okay, some bad jokes you can leave behind. Yeah. There's some racist shit you can leave behind too, maybe.
Then it's not the same show anymore. Like, there are some unsavory jokes that were never fun.
Okay, yeah, that... So he admits that this whole thing with Brief and the priest is not funny
to me to begin with, that those jokes can fall to the wayside. The boy being abused, not funny. I never thought that was funny to me. The sexual nature of the priest, lol, Catholic priest, right? That's the joke, not funny to me. But if the entire show decides to become kind, safe, sensitive, then why?
It's not gonna do that. Come on, if they're not gonna reboot it like that.
Come back at all. There's definitely, again, a nuance to this dance, but I think it can be done. Hell of a Boss does it. They walk that tightrope, and I bet you Panty...
What do you think about Hell of a Boss, chat? What thoughts on Hell of a Boss?
And Stocking can as well. So yes,
I don't have the same problems with Hell of a Boss, but then again, I don't see, like, you know, racist caricatures in Hell of a Boss. There's nothing in Hell of a Boss that makes me want to starve myself. Wait, they do, like, wait, who do they tease about? Oh yeah. Wait, I'm trying to remember. Who do they tease about? There's one of the characters that gets teased about their weight, right? I can't remember who it is.
Recommend Panty and Stocking. The writing, the jokes, the characters are not perfect, but it is definitely a unique...
He thinks they're going to reboot it to be the Teletubbies? I know, what the... Right? Only seen the first episode of Hell of a Boss. It seemed okay.
Spectacle.
Yeah, the first episode was a little bit of a sleeper.
Uses unapologetic style and passion. Hopefully, season 2 can improve on the original series and rock the boat in a good way with this current media landscape. One that is much more sensitive and difficult to traverse. But folks, could you imagine...
Like, Hell of a Boss, like, from what I've seen, is like the right kind of edgy. Right now, I haven't seen Drawn Together, okay? And people are telling me that it's like racist, homophobic, etc. I've never seen this, right? It just there's something about, like, the character design that just made me not want to watch it. I mean, I honestly don't remember this coming out. I remember seeing this, like, on streaming services maybe, or but yeah, it just never seemed to be.
This show coming back today.
Luna looked pretty cool though. Yeah, Luna's awesome.
What if it was released now? Yeah, the show that inspired Panty and Stocking.
And I'm really excited for Hazbin Hotel whenever that actually comes out.
The show that was so offensive, so shocking, that mid-2000s Comedy Central...
The creator is friends with a bunch of Newgrounds and 4chaners? Oh my god, okay, see, I didn't know that. The issues I've heard with Vivzy are that she's a hell of a boss. Right. The unironically, the issues I've heard is that like the work environment was, you know, kind of tough. The era of Comedy Central was pretty much all racism and homophobia. Yeah, they're all trying to be the Southpark, the new Southpark.
Canceled it. Drawn Together is literally the antithesis of the modern online world in almost every single way. I guess I'll review it.
No, okay, I don't even want to know what that is. All right, we're done with this. We are legitimately done with this. Okay.